welcome. My name is Trish. If you're new to this channel, then this is where I do all of my weird type readings, my spiritual journey. I do a bit of astrology over on this channel and pick a card reading. So if you're into all that kind of weird stuff, if you're into cosmic beings, if you're into learning and developing your psychic gifts, then please hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all the subscribers and welcome to all of the new subscribers. So continuing on from the last couple of videos, the last one was the Amp Up Psychic Ability video. I will be referring to that video within this video, and that was a very profound meditation that I had to help me on my spiritual journey. I'll also be referring to the timelines and reincarnation video, and this one is a follow-up from that one there. I will also be referring to one video on or a couple of videos on my other channel, which are let me show you, the Celestial Gift readings. So the Celestial Gift Psychic Development, or Psychic, what is your psychic gift, they're called, over on that channel. And I usually do mine as the fourth pick at the very end of each of those readings, and that's where I take my messages each week from Spirit as to what I'm working on for the current week. Now, I do follow through with what they tell me to do, and I feel this is why I'm getting some growth in my journey, and I'm starting to make some connections. And funny I say that because this week my message was the Psychic Sleuth, and it's time to start piecing together everything they have been giving me over the last few weeks and start to put it together. So that is what I've been doing this week, and that's what this video is all about. So here I made some notes. I made lots of notes on what I was learning, and I asked the cards, am I on the right path? And the Thoth card came out. Now, if you remember, Thoth was in my last meditation, which was a really high vibration, and I've just found out that the other two people that was in that meditation also ended up with a headache for a couple of days after that meditation, and that's how high that energy was. It was so high that it was too much on our physical bodies. So it was quite profound. Now, the last time I had a very profound meditation like that was in 2011, and I've had lots of fantastic, amazing meditations over the years, but with that kind of energy and that kind of learning and high guides that came through was 2011. And back then I was working with the emerald tablets, and that's where I was given the name Apollonius, and went down the and then I went down the rabbit hole about the Hermetics text, as above so below. So this does come into play within, and it does fit into this, what I've learnt further in this reading here. So I'm going to read you through the notes, but I'm going to first of all, I'll mention this other card on the table here, because when I asked if I was on the right track with what I was kind of piecing together, the Thoth card came out, which is very significant. And then the rhythm and cycles, which kind of leads into the cycles of reincarnation, the cycles of our spiritual journey and evolution here. And then I said, what is next after this? So what will I be learning next? And it says divided path, separated. So I'm going to delve a little bit into that today as well and work out what that is. I don't know if that's because we're being separated, because I've been doing a lot of work on what happened, what was our existence prior to entering the reincarnation wheel. So that psychic, or that karma cycle, what were we before that? And I've been doing a lot of work around those topics as well, and this is separated from perhaps our divided path once we entered into that karmic or reincarnation cycle. So I'll be doing a little bit of work with that today at the end of this reading. I'm going to refresh you on the timeline of what I've been given over the last few weeks, and this is what they're wanting me to put together. This was my job this week from Spirit that I had to work on for my spiritual evolution, was to piece together all of the things that they've been giving me over the last couple of weeks. So I'm going to just do a little refresher. So first of all, I had the meditation on the 19th of March. That was in the morning. The meditation was in the morning. Then I did a reading for my celestial gifts, which is my psychic development reading on the other channel, and I was told to look for signs that week. So I spent a lot of time looking at clouds, looking for signs, and that's when I was given the vision of the symbol, which is this one here, as well as a crucifix, which is Christianity. Now, within that meditation that we had, there was because it had a snake in it, and one of the people sitting is a Christian, and brought up with Christian values, there was a little bit of trying to decipher the meaning in context of which philosophy, which religion, which mythology the snake was representing, and what exactly it was representing. So that's what I've been learning today. But I think the cloud in the skies was letting me know that it was a broader range, not just Christianity. A little Hebrew, a little bit of all kinds of religions and all kinds of mythology was involved with the actual meaning of the snake or the serpent. So I've been putting together all the different mythologies and religions and what the significance is of the serpent being, and trying to find a piece together, a common ground for those. But I'm going to go through that today. So I saw the cloud vision on the 20th of March in the afternoon, and then I saw a message that was on the 31st of March, I was told to put the pieces together, which was this week just gone. Okay, so on the 4th of... Okay, so on the 1st of March, approximately, my message for that week was remote viewing. And I thought, I don't really do remote viewing. But then something happened during the week. I caught up with a friend, and she reminded me how we used to do meditation and see visions of certain things, and then we used to sketch them out. So that week I started back again with her doing that again. So I figured that's kind of like remote viewing. So we did one of those early in March, and we came up with very similar visions. Now, our images were different but very similar. We both had water, we both had representing deep down underwater, we had something going on in the sky. It was quite similar, and we had very similar images in the same positions on our art piece. So I, for instance, had a face on the right hand bottom corner, a person in a cloak, she had a big rock, but they were the same shape. So we were seeing the same image, but we interpreted it differently. We both got the water, we both got something deep down under the earth or under the water, on the crust of the water. So we had very similar things. But I was working that week on remote viewing, and now I think what that done was kind of synchronized our visions or our learning, because then when we did that meditation, we had the same meditation. We were both in the same place. Now, we've created the beautiful art pieces for that this week. I think I may just pop them on the screen now, what we're working on there. They're not finished pieces. We still have a bit more to add into the pieces. But this is where we're up to now with what the vision is, what we saw and place that we were. So you can get a bit of an idea in your mind. So I'll put that up on the screen now. Okay, so then I had a message from Helen. Now, Helen, I'm going to get back to you. I've just been putting all these pieces together, and I just wanted to let you know that it was quite a synchronicity when you messaged me. Helen is from the Eye of the Serpent Tarot, and her guides kind of led her in my direction because she's going through very similar things. She's picking up a lot of the similar, and there's a lot of synchronicities between my path right now and her path also, where we've both been led to. Now, when that message came through from her, I was actually working on the serpent art piece. So I thought that was quite unusual, and it was quite profound in itself. So I will get back to you, Helen, about that, and welcome. I think that's kind of the little things that's been happening. So it does synchronize because I've been following along with my psychic abilities video each week and being pushed, and that's how spirit works with me. They give me little pieces. That's how I learn. They give me little pieces, and then it all starts to form and come together. So that's the purpose of this week, is to bring it all together. I'm going to read through my notes now around snake mythology. Now, I studied mythology in uni. I studied the Enuma Elish, the Epic of Gilgamesh, also Genesis in the Bible, and we were looking for similarities between the both. Now, the ancient Babylonian text is older than the Bible, and it's quite very similar narratives or stories, and actually many cultures have the same storyline as what is in the Bible. So they're all kind of very similar. And I also discovered that Fiji has one. They have their own Adam and Eve story. And I found that quite fascinating. It was, they were raised by a serpent, and the serpent taught them wisdom. It raised them, it fed them. It was, yeah, it's really interesting how the serpent appears in many of the creation myths. So let's get on to what I've learned over this week. I made lots and lots of notes. Okay, so the serpent is a deeply profound and multifaceted symbol in mythology and spirituality, carrying themes of sacred knowledge, transformation, and the cylindrical nature of existence, which is what this one here is, the flow of tides, its cycles and rhythms. So in also the keeper of wisdom, or often regarded as a guardian of the realms, a keeper of wisdom and a mediator between the divine and the mortal. Also a connection between this world and the underworld as well. So in Egyptian mythology, Thoth, the god of wisdom and knowledge, is typically depicted as an ibis-headed deity, but also embodies serpentine qualities. His connection to sacred texts like the Hermetica reflects the serpent's association with divine knowledge and spiritual awakening. So this is where my learning from many years ago, from a decade, about the Hermetic texts as above so below, and the laws of polarity as well, I think was very significant as well. It's the law of polarity. Many laws in the Hermetic texts are important. Similarly, now I don't know how to pronounce this, Ni Baku. I'm going to put that word up on the screen because I cannot pronounce it. Depicted as a serpent, plays a pivotal role in connecting the ka, the spirit, to the vital essence, to the khat, which is the body. So at birth, so he's an underworld serpent god, and he's responsible when you do your incarnation into your life, that he'll connect the soul, which they call the ka, or the essence, the vital essence, to your khat, which is your physical body, at birth. And then later, when you return in this cycle, this reincarnation cycle, he will return that ka back to the ba, which is the soul's traveling essence. So really interesting. That is a very important part of what this whole journey is all about. And later linking the ka back to the ba, the soul's traveling essence after death, symbolizing the continuity of life and the journey of the soul. Serpent cyclic is vividly represented in the image of the Ouroboros, or the Ouroboros. I'll put that name up on the screen as well. That's the snake devouring its own tail, which signifies the eternal life and creation destruction. Now, if you remember in the last reading, kept saying creation destruction. So very important. The other thing that kept coming up in that video was the Hermes card, messenger. Listen, sorry, it's Mercury, the messenger, but Mercury, the god Mercury, is also Hermes. So, and it kept saying, important message, listen, but I actually think it was representing Hermes, the god Hermes, which is the communication god, the god that goes between the two, but also represents Hermes Trismegister in the Hermetic text. So I think that's also coming into play here as well. So let me see where I'm up to. I'm up to the Ouroboros, a snake devouring its own tail, which signifies eternal life and creation and destruction, life and death, beginnings and endings. This theme resonated in Norse mythology with the Jomannunga, I'm going to put that word up as well, and the serpent encircling Midgard, holding the world together, while also being an agent of chaos at Ragnarok, which is the end of the world, the prophesied end of the world. It is both the preserver and the destroyer, a paradox that defies existence. In Buddhist traditions, the Nagas, the serpent beings, are associated with death, rebirth, and protection. They embody the energies of transformation and serve as symbols of spiritual awakening. Also profound wisdom keepers as well. The Ouroboros concept and the cyclic nature of the serpent also harmonize with these themes of samsara, the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The serpent appears frequently as a bridge between opposites, chaos and order, creation, destruction, body and soul, the material and the spiritual. Now, I'm always talking about getting balance between the material and the spiritual, so I think that is also coming into play here as well. Serpent frequently appears as a bridge between opposites, chaos and order, creation and destruction, body and soul, the material and the spiritual. Now, I'm always talking about getting balance between the material and the spiritual as well. The duality underscores its role as a mediator and a guide. For example, in Hermetic thought, linked to Hermes and Mercury, another figure associated with serpentine wisdom, sacred knowledge is revealed to humanity often through dreams and visions, offering glimpses of the divine order and even prophecy. In connecting all these threads, the serpent's core message seems to be about embracing life's paradoxes and understanding the interplay of opposites. It reminds me of the infinite cycles that govern the cosmos and the sacred knowledge accessible to those who seek it. Be it through dreams, introspection, or spiritual practice, the serpent teaches that beginnings are inherently tied to endings, and wisdom lies in recognizing the eternal dance. It is both a guide and a guardian, urging us to transcend the material and connect with profound truths and that shape existence. Serpent holds a complex layered symbol in Christianity, often representing both temptation and wisdom. Now, he came to Eve and offered her the apple and said, when they were told they weren't to eat from that tree, the tree of wisdom, of knowledge of good and evil. And he tempted Eve to eat of the fruit. So he was actually offering Eve wisdom. Now, I know it's played out in the Bible as a temptation, and also they were told not to do that. So, and this goes back to the Enlil, Enki, and Anunnaki religion or mythology here, where Enlil did not want their creation to know the truth or know the wisdom, whereas Enki loved his people and he offered wisdom and knowledge here. Now, he can sometimes also be depicted as serpent energy as well. That's Enki, and Enki loved the people. It was Enlil that wanted to bring the great deluge, the flood, through and wipe the people out. Now, that myth is also in many cultures. That's the flood myth in many different cultures and texts. Okay, so coming back to the religious, the cross, the crucifix that I saw in the sky, we're talking about Christianity here. So while it is more overt role is seen in the story of Garden of Eden, where serpent tempts Eve in Genesis 3:1-5, there is a deeper hidden meaning that aligns with the themes of sacred knowledge and polarity. The knowledge of good and evil, that's a polarity. So Genesis, that's Genesis 3, chapter 1-5. Now, also in Numbers 21, chapter 4-9, the bronze serpent crafted by Moses serves as a symbol of healing and redemption. When the Israelites looked upon it, they healed from snake bites. This act foreshadows Christ's sacrifice as referenced in John 3, chapter 14-15, where Jesus compares himself to the serpent lifted up in the wilderness, offering eternal life to those who believe. Now, I do want to come back to the vision of my friend's meditation had the snake wrapped around the staff, which brings me more energy around that Moses symbol there, healing and redemption. Verses reveal the serpent's dual nature, both as a symbol of temptation and as a bearer of deeper truths and wisdom. The serpent of sacred cycles. Now, this is what this one here, rhythm and cycles. The verses reveal, the serpent whispers the mysteries of existence, guiding you through the eternal dance of life, death, and rebirth. The polarity, the opposites. It holds the sacred knowledge of transformation and balance, bridging together opposites such as creation and destruction, body and soul, the beginning and end. The Ouroboros, the serpent encircling itself, reminds you that all things are interconnected, and the endless cycles where every birth, a new beginning, an endless cycle of endings and beginnings. This card invites you to embrace life's paradoxes. Actually, this is what I'm going to this is the message on my new card that I'm creating. for my personal deck here. The card invites you to embrace life's paradoxes and delve into the inner wisdom. The serpent is your guardian, urging you to seek deeper truths and connect with the divine order of the universe. Pay attention to your dreams and visions. They may hold the keys to the guidance and foresight you seek. Just as the serpent sheds its skins, so too you can release old patterns and emerge renewed. The message: you are in the flow of a transformative cycle. Trust the process, honor your journey, and recognize that each phase of creation leads to growth and enlightenment. The wisdom you need is within. You only need to seek it. So the principle of polarity, as outlined in the Hermetic teachings in the Kabbalion, reveals that things exist on a spectrum. So there's with two opposing poles, and it's depending on whether and they are interconnected. So this would be light and dark, this would be death and rebirth, this would be good and evil, and everybody is good and bad, but it depends where that lever is on your polarity. And it's funny because both of us had levers in our meditation, and we were moving our levers. Well, I got to move my lever just a little bit. So that's the Hermetic text and how that fits in. I've made so many notes here. In that very profound meditation that I had, I didn't even know who Apollonius was. He is so Apollonius of Tyana was a fascinating figure from the 1st century, often described as a philosopher, a mystic, and a miracle worker. He was born in Tyana, and a central figure in that is modern day Turkey. His life and teachings were recorded in the bibliography of Philostratus, commissioned by the Empress Julia Domna. And that name was given to me. I'd never heard of this person. He was said to have apparently found the emerald tablets hidden in a cave. Apollonius is sometimes compared to the Jesus due to similarities in the stories. Both were spiritual teachers, performed miracles, and apparently there was many in that time. I think Simon was another one, and were believed to have ascended to heaven. However, Apollonius was more closely associated with philosophy and mysticism, particularly the teachings of Pythagoras. While some viewed him as a divine figure, his role was more of that of a sage, a philosopher, rather than a prophet in a religious sense. The connection to the Emerald Tablet. The Emerald Tablet was traditionally attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a synchronistic figure combining the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. Now, if you remember in the timelines reading last week, we kept getting those cards. That's the Hermes card, which is Mercury, and the Thoth figure kept coming out as well. So there are legends involving Belinus, a name sometimes linked to Apollonius, claiming he discovered the tablet in a secret chamber. So Apollonius remains a mystical, influential figure that blends both philosophy, mysticism, and legend. Snake is a guardian and a guide. The snake in various spiritual traditions is a keeper of profound wisdom and the mediator between realms. It's a protective role in your visions and suggests you are crossing a threshold, a sacred barrier guarding profound truths. Now, that's exactly what happened to me when I came face to face with this snake being. In my messages for that week, I was told I was to face my fears and I was to transcend above fears. That's what they told me. I would be working on my spiritual journey that week. That's what it would involve. I'm terrified of snakes, but this, I had no fear whatsoever. As I gazed upon this snake, he gazed upon me. He was reading me and he was judging me. He was very judgmental, but didn't have a mean face, and he was really judging whether or not I was going to enter or cross the threshold of the sacred barrier guarding the profound truth. So that's what was going on. That's what they had prepared me for when they told me that I was to transcend above fear that week. So very interesting how my messages each week in those readings have been steering me in a certain direction. So I just found that was all very profound. So then the levers, the tools that influence the balance, as I said, it's the different polarities and the levers there. Now in my meditation, I was asking for truth for people, so more to have my readings stronger truth coming through for the people. If I'm giving messages to people, I want them to be based on full truth and fact of the mysteries of the world. And that's what the sacred barrier and was guarding profound truths, the serpent energy. So the snake symbolism, including the transformation and the cyclic nature of existence, might indicate that your journey involved uncovering deeper layers of spiritual awareness and self-discovery. Okay, so that I've made many notes. I'm not going to read every single one. Okay, so where to next? This is the card that I've said where to next. Now, I thought some things that I might need to start looking into. It's a profound and fascinating journey. You're embarking on exploring the idea of separation from our divine path and the forgetfulness that accompanies reincarnation cycles. It touches on themes of presence in many spiritual traditions and philosophical frameworks. There will need to be maybe some Hindu or Buddhism traditions delving into concepts like samsara, the cycle of life, death and rebirth, and karma, the law of cause and effect, which is also in the Hermetic principles as well. The Hermetic philosophy, which I read about a decade ago, addresses the idea of regaining divine wisdom and aligning with universal truths. So emerald tablets, as above so below, may resonate with the idea of rediscovering one's divine connection. Plato's theory of knowledge. Plato suggests the idea of amnesis. The knowledge is recollection. This may inspire meditation practices aimed at recovering forgotten wisdom inherent to the soul. It's really interesting, I think. Bring out the cards now, and we're going to ask a couple of questions based on everything I've just said. Do you have any other further insights to add to what we've just been discussing? Very interesting that a lot of the same themes have just come out that I've just discussed. So yes, I've got more to add to this learning. There's a lot more to do with that. Now, the Phoenix Ashes is all about rising up, rebirth from destruction. So the Phoenix does represent rising up from the flames or rising up from after death. So destruction and then rebirth. So it's a very important theme about rebirth. Death and rebirth is very important to what this whole journey is all about and what the learning or the spiritual truth is all about, and diving into karmic effect, cause and effect. So again, it's all about those Hermetic principles called the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect is represented in the Hermetic text, the principle of cause and effect. Now, the karma wheel is also represented in reincarnation, how we're in a cycle of reincarnation. Some say it's a trap, because when we believe that we have done wrong or we need to do something better, when we're judged or we judge ourselves, we feel like we could do that better. So, or we feel like we've done wrong by somebody or something, that we feel like that's karma then that we're holding on to, and then we're pushed back in again to redo that, because perhaps we feel we can do it better, or perhaps it's just a cycle that we're in. So very important information there, but it is all a toxic screen, and I've seen this card come out in the last reading as well. So it's a toxic veil of poisoning. So it's maybe poisoning our mind with the karmic effects of how detrimental that is to our path to try and come back to our true essence or our true path. The card that I said, and funny enough, sitting on the bottom of this deck is polar duality. Opposites finding balance. This is everything that I've basically just talked about in those whole. So if you're drawn here and you haven't yet uncovered the teachings of the Hermetic teachings, now I can't even remember, I do have a book on it, I just can't remember where I've put it. Yeah, maybe this is something that you're needing to start with. That's because a lot of these laws are coming from that. The polar duality is a principle of the Hermetic text, and so is the cause and effect is also another one. Now, the cosmic gears, the great reset, there was gears in these meditations that we had. There was cogs, which were indicating gears, cosmic gears and the great reset. So yes, there's still a lot to learn about this, but this is kind of where the energy is going. Okay, is this ultimately to learn how to Reconnect the soul back to source. It's the Keeper of Destiny. This is a wisdom keeper. Again, you can see the bird-like beak here. That's now the Thoth is the, in Egypt, is the scribe and architect. But this is the Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records. Keeper of Information. This is opening your eyes and awakening to wisdom here. It's a shift in perspective, changing perspective twice slightly, because it's a little different than how we're raised, how we're taught, or how we're programmed. So they're trying to open my eyes. This is my journey at the moment to reality. So can you give me a little more insight into what the true reality of this cycle is? We're talking about the eternal cycle of reincarnation. How amazing are these cards? Every time I use them, they blow me away. I'm just so amazed at how well these cards speak. What can you tell me about, what do you want to tell me? It's quite a strong urge of an energy that they want to really convey a message to me about the reincarnation cycle. What is it you're trying to tell me? How you were affected, the cosmic upgrade, improvements, how you can improve the situation, the upgrade, how I'm effective, and also I have here the visionary mind, thinking bigger about the situation. So that's more knowledge, more understanding, opening the mind to understand the true meaning of the reincarnation cycle. That card didn't flip, but that one there did. Again, it's the Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records. Mercury, the messenger. Again, we're talking about Mercury, which represents communication, but also represents and connected to the god Hermes. Now, Hermes Trismegister is the deeply connected to the Emerald Tablets, which is the Hermetic Principles. I might actually have to get my books back out again and read them again. Okay, by getting back into the principles and the karmic cycle and learning how to remember, where will this will this lead me? The quester of knowledge, seeking wisdom. And also understanding. So it says seek understanding, quest for knowledge. So seeker of wisdom and understanding. Fearlessly, Pluto is transforming and facing your fears. Okay, I just need to pull the energy back here for one moment. Okay, Master Teacher here on the bottom, but let me just focus back in on the question here. Okay, what is the core message that you want to tell me? Oh, the other thing I need to mention is that a couple of months ago they asked me to start in my opening, because every time I work with spirit, I always do an opening, to start including my cosmic family in that opening, and I have been doing that. I don't tell people, but I have been doing that, and then I've been getting all of these insights, so maybe there's something more coming through here. Okay, what can we tell the people? How can we help the people? Okay, how to return back to the roots. That was very interesting. So how to returning back to the roots. Now this is another Hermetic, wow, look at this. This is another Hermetic principle. Thoughts are matter, it's all mental. It's actually the first Hermetic principle, is thoughts matter, it's all mental. That's also these ones have jumped out again, the karmic effect, the cause and effect. This is also a Hermetic principle here as well. Opposites finding balance, polar duality, they are all Hermetic principles. So so it's the way forward the way to go home. Now go home, and Guardian Shield here. Guardian Shield is, I feel, guarded secrets. I felt that was the serpent image. The serpent was definitely a guardian. He was a keeper of knowledge, keeper of wisdom, but also a guardian to cross the threshold into that. So it is well guarded here. But yeah, information around returning and going home, the way forward. Now let's further dive into that, because I often say I don't think that I want to reincarnate again. I think that I would like to either return to Source, return to God, return to my cosmic family, return and get off this hamster wheel. I often say that. So seeker of wisdom here again, questioning. It jumped out again. Quest for knowledge. Is this connected to me wanting to get off that karmic wheel? Again, they keep saying it. It's Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records. Let's read a little bit more into that. Radiant Sun, personal power. Let's read more into the Keeper of Destiny, the Akashic Records. This card has come out many times. Can you further elaborate, please? What is it you're trying to tell us about the Akashic Records or the Keeper of Destiny? That one jumped the biggest. Guiding light, seeking. Okay, so simultaneously happening at the same time, but it's fighting for human rights. That's really profound in itself. It's fighting for humanity. Perhaps it's the keeper of humans, the keeper of souls, seeking guidance here. Anything else you can tell me about this Akashic Records or the Keeper of Destiny? Are we talking about the Keeper of Souls? I've just been told under a watchful eye. And forbidden fruit, forbidden knowledge. So I can't track that line out any further, is what they're telling me. That causes a watchful eye. Tapping into that, whatever question that I just asked or how I phrased that, I can't take that line of questioning any further. Okay, so the next part of the journey is the separation from, or the divided path, separation. What is it that we're separated from? Okay, this is the crossroads or planet of the crossing, which is also very interesting because it talks about the story of Enlil and Enki as well, the Anunnaki. Now the Anunnaki, let me try and think of the actual meaning of that word. Another meaning, it's not actually from the stars they came. There's another meaning involved in that. Now let me try and think of it. If I can think of what that meaning is, I know it's something to do with Anu, which is the father of Enlil and Enki, and Ki, which is where the seed came from. So the seed of the line came from. So very interesting. If I can actually find the correct message for that, I'll pop it up on the screen now. Okay, the separated path. What is it we're separated from? Okay, the master teacher. How we're affected keeps coming out. The atmosphere influence. The Earth Guardian. Okay, I have one more pull left here because, and past lives. Ethereal Echoes, which is talks about simultaneous timelines. Again, we've got simultaneous and past lives. The energy here is pulling back, so I have one more just pull. Is there anything else you want to say? How beautiful and fitting. Those, of course. and the way forward into the future. So it's not the end of the topic, it's not the end of the learning, there's still more to come. But yeah, just signing off here from the energy here. So thank you so much for joining me. I know it's a long one, but it's quite profound, and it's a journey, it's an evolution, and it's ongoing. So thank you for joining me on my journey, and I hope that it's resonating with you also.